Yes.
Yes! Welcome back to
Yes.
next week, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking and sharing the episode. As you can see, it's a little unusual episode today. I'm personally excited for this interview right now.
Me too.
We haven't done this yet, so
No,
we haven't got a chance to introduce you.
I know. I'm glad our schedule works out.
Yeah, it works out just great.
do this.
You know, we just happen to have things coincided with the rapture, the apocalypse, and now Chris Wineland's interview on next week.
Thank you.
Works out great. So
Thank you.
this is Chris Wineland. He's the writer for Next Week with Jeff Durbin. So welcome to next week.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, he's always here. You just never see him. Well, except for the bits and everything, all the things he does. Great bit today, by the way.
Oh, which one?
One of my favorites.
That sounded conceited, but thank you. Appreciate it. I said which one immediately.
Yeah, the Starbucks bit.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad you liked that.
Yeah, I loved it.
That took 4 drafts to write, actually.
Good. So let's introduce you to everybody. This is Chris Wineland. Chris, you're the writer for Next Week. Just tell everybody what you do. What you do this for a living? You're a comedian.
Yeah.
You write. You've written some jokes for Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon. Mm-hmm.
And now you're writing jokes for a far superior show.
Yes, of course.
Bigger budget. A bigger crew.
Yeah.
It's a step up
sure.
for you. This is a step up.
We have at least 3,000 crew members on this show here.
Yeah, well,
so it's that's night and day. You know, Jimmy Fallon, he has 2 people, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, I was a fax writer, which means I would go and write jokes for the monologue. I'd send them in, and I would be on the road doing stand-up, which is also what I do. So I've been doing stand-up for 10 years. My 10-year anniversary is going to be in July.
Nice.
So
you talk about it like it's your marriage.
Yeah, I know. It was tough. There were a couple times we had to get counseling, but we worked it out. We worked it out pretty good.
So you did something recently, though, in Moscow, Idaho. Tell us about that.
I did. I risked my life in Moscow, just living in the woods for 2 days. We saw a deer or something, and I think it wanted to destroy me. No, we filmed a comedy special.
Okay.
Filmed a comedy special. It's going to go to some sort of streaming thing. We haven't mentioned what it is yet, so we're in.
But good things are in the works. It could
very
potentially
good things.
be very
Yes.
big.
Yes, and this was my second comedy special that I filmed. The first one is on YouTube for free. Anybody can watch it, and it's okay. It's an okay. It's okay.
I liked it. It was good.
I thought it was all right.
So you've been doing it for 10 years. Why comedy? You're a Christian.
Yeah.
You love God. You love the biblical worldview.
Yeah.
You wrote jokes for Jimmy Fallon.
Right.
And faxed them in and everything. And some of your jokes got on the show. But it was exciting for you to get an opportunity to be a writer for really the first ever Christian nighttime talk show.
Yeah, which is amazing. So my whole life I've been passionate about late night. I woke up, and even watching morning shows. I'd wake up early, watch morning shows, and I'd stay up late and watch late night shows. And so I've always been obsessed. The first time I watched SNL, I went to my parents' basement and wrote a script. Immediately, I wrote my own sketch at 11 or 12. So all I've ever loved is late night. And then I got into stand-up comedy because my mom made me get up on stage.
Yeah.
So I got up on stage for the first time when I was 18. I got a laugh from someone that wasn't my mom, and I was hooked.
Right.
So I woke up every morning and just being like, I have to do stand-up. So my first year, I did 200 shows, just anywhere I could that would let me. I would go into Taco Bell's and do stand-up there. And so I got obsessed with comedy, and I realized I don't know what it was that got me hooked other than the fact that somebody laughed, but what kept me was the fact that I realized that people were listening to what somebody was trying to say. It wasn't just with me, it was anybody could get up on stage and have a message, but you wouldn't know that they had a message until after you laughed, and sometimes until after they got off on stage.
Yeah.
So it just kind of naturally happened. And then I got really into late night, like I said, and was doing stuff with Jimmy Fallon. And I have friends that are late night writers on other shows. And I was just about to submit to some other shows where my friends write. And this was 2 years ago. And then I saw you guys, and you put out a thing on Facebook that said, hey, we're looking to do a Christian late night show, and it's never been done before.
Right.
So that was my thing, is I was like, let's see what this could do. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, totally providential too, because you were connected with people that we knew.
Yeah.
And the fact that you even saw this call for a Christian writer.
I know, it's crazy.
The fact that you had experience with this was so exciting for us.
And the fact that I called the other people that tried to submit to you, and I threatened their lives so that they wouldn't send it. So it was all crazy.
It worked out well. So, you brought up a good point. I think that would be good to talk about.
Yeah.
When you look at like the popular comedians today, like guys that are really talented, guys like Dave Chappelle, Joe Rogan, and all these comedians, they write for shows, they do bits and sketches, but they also do a lot of stand-up. What's interesting is that you always see there's like this common thread amongst all of them, and that's that they're all not Christian.
Yeah.
And then their message will be along the same party line of the day.
It's not Christian.
Yeah. And even the worldview. The worldview is like these guys are excellent at what they do. They're really good at it.
Yeah.
And you're right, they have a message. Like the joke itself has, setup, has punchlines, it has like a common formula, but they're delivering jokes that tap into the zeitgeist, the spirit of the age, right? Whether it has to do with socialism or Marxism or just a commonly humanistic worldview and perspective of the world. But you're doing it as a Christian, and I think some people, Chris, would be like, well, what's the point? Like, what's the point of Christian comedy? Like, why invest your life in something like that? I actually think it's wonderful, and it's so completely necessary.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedy actually started secular. The very first guy who was a stand-up comedian, he committed suicide. So he was the very first comic, and then next thing you know, now stand-ups are known for being depressed, for wanting to kill themselves.
Right.
You know, so you see this long strain, and so Christian comedy, unfortunately, we've had like decades where it hasn't been good because everybody's trying to not offend the church. And when in reality what comedy did, and this is why Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle and all those are the leading comics, is because they're not trying to I just want to step on eggshells here. They want to push the envelope. They want to say, listen, this is why I'm saying this and this is why it's funny. And Christians need to get that concept. And that's why I love late night, because Christian late night show is so important, because millennials get over half of their news from late night.
Right.
So why have we stayed out of the game for so long?
Yeah.
And same thing with stand-up comedy. If I'm going to get up on churches, so when I get up on church, I don't do like church comedy. You know, there are people that do it and they do a great job and it's very funny. It's not my thing. I get up and I talk about things that everybody relates with. I talk about things that might be, you may not want to talk about, but I do that because we should be in the conversation. We should be talking. And every time I do things that I feel might be a little edgy, but it's true and it honors God, I always get invited back.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I love what your career choice. I love what you do. I think it's important because, like it or not, our generation, the young people of today, they're feeding off of BuzzFeed and Huffington Post, and they're getting their cultural commentary from guys like Fallon and guys. Just look at all even the latest shootings and things that have happened.
Yeah.
And all the political commentary, all the guys that are speaking towards it are all speaking towards it from just basically like a secular or humanist or liberal kind of worldview.
Yeah.
And that's the predominant voice of cultural commentary. And you're right, that's what we're listening to.
Yeah.
And so where's the Christian voice?
Right.
So doing this show, the main purpose of this show was to broaden the audience that we have, and to be able to, at the heart of this show, communicate the message of end abortion now, to engage the culture of death, those sorts of things. But we're trying to do it in a way that's good, that's fun, that's edgy, and I want to get to this point, that has the same kind of cutting, serrated edge satire that you find, get this, in the Bible.
Yep.
That's what gets me too. Is a lot of times people watch our show and they'll see some of the cutting stuff that you'll write or that'll be in the desk piece, right? And they'll say like, well, that just seems really unloving to say those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And it's like I feel like I want to say very respectfully, very humbly, very lovingly, very gently, very kindly. You need to read your Bible. Yeah. Because there's some pretty cutting satire and edgy stuff that God uses in Scripture to communicate a very true message.
Yeah, and you know, it's fun that you say that because that's one of the coolest parts of the show is that we're on our second season now. Yeah. So the whole first season was such a buffer to say like, hey everybody, this is what we're doing now. This is what the culture looks like. And I just got to say, all those people that have been commenting about the writing, I know who you are. Jason and Donna. They're mean.
Donna 1830. Hashtag.
Donna 1830, I know it. But I believe that what we're doing is important.
It's,
I really
it's
believe
important.
it's important.
Yeah, we're not just playing games.
No, we're not. And every time that we do a joke or every time we do a funny sketch, the reason we're doing it is to say, well, what does it look like from a Christian point of view? Something big happens in the news, and go, well, why is it that only the liberal media and the atheists are allowed to make fun of this? Why can we not make fun of this? And if we do, what does it look like? And
What's it look like for a Christian to make fun of it?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
And it should happen.
But Jesus mocked
Yep.
false teaching and false teachers.
Jesus called people the sons of the devil.
That's right.
And we're over here upset if we say the word marijuana.
Right.
And I don't know if I'm allowed to say that right now.
No, you're not. It's a Christian show, we'll beep it out.
Yeah.
In the Old Testament, God's prophet actually cuts the pagan worshipers and makes fun of them. Like, no, well, maybe your God's, maybe he's on a toilet.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not answering because he's relieving himself. And that's cutting satire that's meaningful. So like when you're writing stuff or we're writing stuff for the desk piece or whatever we're doing for the show, we're always asking the question, number one, does it honor God, first of all? So there's times where we see something we're like, well, we can't really do that because not honoring to God. And the other times we'll say something that's cutting or hard and satirical, and we're asking the question, does this mean something?
Right.
Does it matter that we're talking about this?
Yeah. What does it mean if we put that skit out there, if we write that joke and we put it out there? And there are so many times where we'll sit there and just go, it just doesn't fit. And I love that because you'll give pushback, and and everybody in the crew will kind of give pushback if we feel like there's a joke that just didn't what is the message at the end of the day?
Yeah, what does it mean anything?
Right. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think it's also fun, we did the segment just in this episode about dogs dressed up.
Right.
As pastors, I think that's fun too, to just say, let's just laugh for a second.
Right.
And because there's so many times where we have to why have some of us Christian lost the sense of humor?
Well, Martin Luther said, if you're not allowed to laugh in heaven, I don't want to go there. It'd be nice if we got back to that kind of thinking, right?
Yeah.
God is delightful.
Yeah.
The Bible actually says that He's the happy God. So we don't have to always be doing things that are sort of solemn and serious, because not all of life is solemn and serious.
Yeah. And that being said, my prayer life is serious.
Yes.
I'm not joking with God when I get down on my knees and pray in the morning.
Right.
I'm really standing before the Creator and just pouring my life out and just praying to Him.
Right.
So there are moments, and it's funny when people see jokes I guess they might think that that's all I am. It's just this can't take anything seriously, guy.
Yeah, and not true. I think there's a balance in the Christian life between the moments of fear and reverence and awe, and then moments of lightheartedness and jokes and enjoying and delighting in God's creation, the world. And at the same time, I have to say it's appropriate and it's fun. You should definitely try it, mocking the unbelieving system. It needs to be mocked. So when you're writing cutting stuff, and we want to even get more cutting when it comes to unbelieving thought and the unbelieving worldview, we want to make the standard of thought Christian rather than unbelieving. Whereas now the major standard of thought and worldview is unbelieving. There's just no question about it.
Yeah.
So this show takes aim at that. And of course, at the heart of it is you and I both have a singular focus on ending abortion in our nation.
Yeah.
And so when we're writing stuff and you're doing things, we're trying to aim at getting at the culture of death, putting the axe at the root.
Yeah. Well, the most influential thing is media.
Right.
So, a celebrity is president, right? So that just gives you an example right there. I really believe that you can end abortion through a television show.
No, that's why we're doing it.
Exactly. Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right.
So you and I are both, obviously we have that same mission.
Yeah.
And I've said that to people. I said that to somebody because they were asking about the show, and they just gave me just such a blank stare.
Right.
I was like, no, we're ending abortion on this show.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's just like, okay.
Yeah.
He didn't
Well, it's
blame
interesting
me.
because the mission of end abortion now is so broad, it's so big, and this show only accounts for a fifth of what we're doing. But the whole purpose of this show is to engage a larger national audience with the Christian message and culture, and to take aim at the culture of death and to end it once and for all. So, hey, speaking of Chris Wineland, our writer, and his comedy, I want to go ahead and play this clip. Let's roll the clip of your comedy special.
hands together for Chris Wineland. He's been hanging out with the evaluators all day. He's been evaluating. He's been doing a great job. But Chris Wineland is actually with New Life Drama Company, and they are a ministry right out of Scottsdale. So Chris Wineland's gonna give us some jokes, and so I hope you guys are ready to laugh a little bit as we kind of just allow it to breathe a little bit and have some fun here tonight. So Chris Wineland, can you welcome him again to the stage? Here you go.
This is why I can't have kids, but if I did have kids, you see how quickly I switch over? That's what us Christians do. All of us Christians, we just love kids. You ever notice that? We love getting married too. It's like, hi, I'm 17, me and my wife have been married for 16 years. How? So yeah, we have 37 children. They're all named Isaiah. But half of the people call him Jeremiah, so I don't know why that's confusing. If I ever do have kids, I want 12 sons, which is probably why I'm not married yet. And I want to name them all after the disciples, because that would be hilarious. It'd also be kind of cool, but I'm not going to lie, I'd be a little biased. I'd be like, all right, kids, it's time for your allowance. There you go, James. There you go, John. Oh, there you go. Oh, Thomas, you doubted. You doubted, but there you go. And there you go. And no, Judas, no, you get nothing. Nothing, Judas. Oh, you know what you've done. You're going to go sit in the corner and think about what you've done. Meanwhile, the rest of us are going to watch Peter try to walk on the pool. Just walk, Peter. Don't doubt me. I got really mean there at the end to my kids. I don't know what happened. Peter, get on the pool. I took a lifeguard class. Get in that pool. That is a mean parent.
All right, guys, that was Chris Wineland, and yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chris Wineland, our writer for Next Week with Jeff Durbin. Thanks, brother.
Hey,
love you, man. Thanks for all you're doing for us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, hey, you need to stay with us. Really do. On the next segment, we have something very, very, very important to share with you. It is so important that you see it, and we actually need your help. So stay with us. Short commercial break, and then we're going to come back. I'm going to share a new trailer with you for something that I think needs to be seen around the world, but we need you to partner with us. So just stay with us for a few more moments, and great. Look, yeah, now we know who's saved and who's not here at Next Week with Jeff Durbin. So thanks, guys. All right, well, stay with us.
Next Week with Jeff Durbin, the late night show with the unpopular opinion. Tuesdays, only on Facebook Live.